Welcome to the Ides of March meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. That would be March 15th, 2011. May we have a roll call, please?
Authority members: Draymond.
Yes, here.
Here.
Incy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Karazian.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Quintero.
Here. May we have your report?
The agenda for the March 15, 2011 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, March 10, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. There are no minutes for approval for this particular meeting, although there was one oral communication card submitted.
Okay. Next, please.
That is oral communication, and discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to a speaker, but there will be no debate or decision, and the matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
I have one card, Herbert Milano.
Good afternoon, Housing Authority Chair Quintero, members of the Housing Authority and city staff. My name is Herbert Milano. In the past few years, the Housing Authority with the Redevelopment Agency has spent tens of millions of dollars to provide affordable housing to dozens and dozens of families. But there is another bigger issue to housing affordability, and that's the utility rates that struggling families must pay. Mr. Draymond, last week when I made my renewed request for information that would allow the general public to see the impact of the economy on utility ratepayers, you took up my request and directed it to the city staff for fulfillment. I thank you for your interest and for your courtesy. I'm asking for a report on the number of families who received delinquent notices or 48-hour notices of impending shutoff, and I'm requesting that report by zip code. In the past few years, I have asked through the California Public Records Act for various different types of information where I don't have to pay for that specific report. And I have several types of statistical reports from which the following data comes. These are statistical report number 41 and statistical report 32 and a few others. Here is a sampling of the data and what the data shows. In February of 2008, there were 35,308 statements sent out. 48-hour notices that were sent out were 6,006. That's a 17% of Glendale residents who receive those statements receive a 48-hour notice of shutoff. In July of 2008, there were 1,590 arrangements for payment made. In April of 2009, 38,000 statements were sent, 5,625 received 48-hour notices. The following year in August, it dropped to 4,339. So they have been dropping significantly, but what it is clear here is that these particular 48-hour notices cannot be due to people moving out of Glendale. Because 70% of the population lives in apartment buildings, at this particular rate of $5,000 a month, we will basically have a complete turnover in less than 3 years, and our vacancy rate is less than 5%. The problem is a combination of the unemployment and the high utility rates. I can attest to that because I get a commercial billing and I pay 21 cents per kilowatt hour. We transferred $19 million from the electric utility in order to prop up the general fund, and that means that the electric bills have to be artificially higher. Don't forget that we also pay the utility users tax as well. So I recognize that in the last year, the city reduced electricity rates by 7%, and I think we're all appreciative of that, but that's after many years of increases. When the Housing Authority spends tens of millions of dollars in affordable housing and shelter, we sometimes forget that there's a whole other segment of the population in dire need of relief. So I'm suggesting for the Housing Authority to look at its priorities and renew a commitment to figure out how to provide a semblance of assistance, which is in a way housing assistance in a very indirect way, to the significant number of residents and dwellings who are receiving the 48-hour notices or who are having arrangements to pay their utility bill. I think it is the fair thing to do. A city that has had a significant amount of increases in the number of its middle management employees, significant amount of increases in its payroll, significant increases in the pension obligations, I think deserves to take a look at the other side of the people who, in an indirect way, are paying for those significant increases in that payroll. I think it is the fair thing to do, and it is my hope that sometime soon I'll be able to see a report to see how this economy has impacted people residing in zip codes like 91205, which has the greatest poverty level in the city of Glendale. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much, Mr. Draymond.
Okay, what's next?
Next is authority member or staff comments.
Staff comments or comments? I hear none.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Joined afterwards.
And would you?
We're doing redevelopment next.